today I am with one of, I guess, an inspiration to me, somebody who despite the fact that I've never met him face to face, I feel like I talk to him every day. He's an inspiration to me through social media, a man with a fantastic, really uplifting, motivational story and how that's fed into his recovery. I know him as Sober Faust. His family and friends know him as Fausto. And so I could not be more excited to have you on this show, my man. How are you today?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, thank you, Tony, for having me on here, because it's always a blessing to see how God works His magic through others, to kind of give us that little nugget of hey, I know you're a stubborn human being, Fausto, so I'm going to give you some people to kind of show you that you're in the right direction, right? So
Right.
thank you for the opportunity. And I'm good. Like I said, I'm blessed, dude. Just moved into a new place that I would never think I would be able to live. Coming from, like I said, $23 an hour. $23 an hour. My mom was working, making that much money, taking care of 2 kids in Orange County, where it's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was us being rich. We had everything. Like, when I say everything, I mean a 1-bedroom apartment to me that was nice. That's all I knew. And Christmas, Thanksgiving. And this past weekend, I just moved into what people call bougie is the word, right? People say bougie.
Yeah, that's
fancy place in Irvine. And it's just incredible to see, I came from thinking this is all life was, and to see to overcome that adversity of my way of thinking actually was programmed because of all I knew. And to overcome that, now I'm bringing my mom into my new place to show her, look what your son's done. Look how I'm blessing you now for everything you did. You struggled, and now I made it through, and I'm going to create that new family aspect for the rest of the people that are going to be a part of my family. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm feeling blessed.
Awesome. Talk to me a little bit about that word, that key word you just shared, which is struggle, and tie that into your journey. You and I have connected on the phone, and I've listened to it, and everybody's journey is different. Yet, and yours is pretty dark. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, the word struggle, right? It can be a bad thing or it can be a good thing. It's all how we perceive it. I learned that we all struggle to uncover the truth, and the truth will set us free. Now, that perception of viewing struggle like that really helps me, because we can play victim for a while, but once we're aware that we don't have to be a victim no more, if we continue to be a victim, we're just a volunteer. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to be a volunteer no more. So I developed a perception of everything happens for a reason. I don't need to know what that reason is, but I'm going to believe that it's true. I'm going to believe that God put me through these things in order for me to help others. So when I had that perception change that happened in 2017 when I got sober, it really helped me look back at everything in my life. It helped me look at, okay, I was sexually abused as a child, but it happened for a reason. Again, it sounds very dark to call sexual abuse that. That's just my perception. That's my opinion. It helped me recover. And then when I was molested as a teenager, the same thing. It happened to me for a reason. That helped me let go of that. And becoming a drug addict, becoming an alcoholic, becoming suicidal, depressed, my mom going through cancer, not having a father, heartbreaks, I mean, you name it, overdosing to losing stuff. Everything I was able to see as all this struggle, the fact that I'm still alive when all that was happening meant that I was powerful enough to get through it, right? I thought I was always weak. Always thought I was weak, the vulnerable, emotional, sensitive kid. But then I realized that God said, no, you're actually really strong. Look at you now. You're still standing right here. You're realizing that it happened to you for a reason. You're seeing that your struggles were actually a part of your story. And in that moment, because I believe that, it carried me for over 2.5 years, being sober still and healing through those things. And every time I help somebody, again, makes me believe that perception is true. And I'm blessed.
You and I have talked about the wrath of addiction, right? And I feel like you as well. I dabbled with cocaine at a very young age, and I was first introduced to cocaine by my father, right? The last person you think is going to walk you through how to put something up your nose and develop a habit that's going to cripple you. When you and I talked, you shared how you managed your seizures. And for me, I've been replaying that same share that you and I talked about a few days back. And how crazy is the disease to tell you that that's okay? Talk to me a little bit about that.
It is wild. I think, because I'm epileptic, like you said, so I'm epileptic. And when I was in my addiction, I figured out that if I drink more alcohol at a time than my cocaine intake, I wouldn't have a seizure. But the insanity is like just what I just said, like I was okay with that, having a seizure because of doing too much coke and drinking less alcohol. Okay. I'm having grand mal seizures too. So I'd get out the grand mal seizure, come back to reality. I'm like, okay, looking around the room. Okay, the bottle of, vodka is right there. I need to down the whole bottle of vodka this time so I don't have a seizure because I still got a lot of coke left and I'm not going to stop. And that was the cycle, doing that over and over and over. I mean, I would have 3 to 4 seizures a day sometimes because I was like, okay, more alcohol. I need more alcohol. So that insanity right there, I mean, I didn't even think about how bad that was in the moment. You can have a seizure and be brain dead. You can have a seizure and die. And I just didn't care. I really did not care. Like that wasn't enough to stop me. Like I said, I figured out a system. Down more alcohol before you do a line.
Yeah. And people, here, the beauty is that over the last 5 or 10 years, even 15 years, people are much more educated with addiction, alcoholism, drug abuse, drug addiction. And people are either 1 or 2 degrees of separation from either somebody in their family or a close friend that's actually suffering from the disease. It's more than just getting drunk and high. It's this warped mentality that just rules the way you live. And that's the part of addiction that a lot of people don't understand. This becomes your maker. And so, I cringe but I was the same way. I was a trash can drinker. I couldn't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours, and I would have bottles of vodka and beer and wine, on average 4 bottles of wine a night, and I would have them scattered all over the house. And there's, more often than not, I forgot where they were. A week or 2 weeks later, I would remember where they were. It's just a really sick way of living. So talk to me a little bit about your epiphany, which was a good one, right? Look at you, like you're shining bright, you're smiling, your head is like, you pivot your head up. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, 2017, right? 2017, I'm laying in a pile of, or puddle, blood, vomit, and tears. And I'm broken. I want to kill myself. And it was that moment of being in that moment of wanting to kill myself was crazy because in my mind, I was like, this is the moment where people commit suicide. Like it was such a dark, scary feeling. Like I remember shaking because I was so scared, like, holy fuck, I'm going to kill myself. Like I just can't live no more. And, I'm in debt, about to lose the home, lose the car. Mother has cancer. I'm living this lie because no one knows I'm a drug addict fully. Maybe they do. I just didn't know. Lost my job. I mean, everything from the external stuff falling apart to the internal stuff was falling apart. And it was crazy because I don't know what it was, but something just, snapped in my head to like make this phone call. And I called this friend and I just asked him, dude, how did you change your life? Like, how did you go from this person that was, in prison, stealing, criminal, to just being a person of God? Like, it just blew my mind away. Like, how did you change like that? So he picked me up and, he read some scripture to me from the Bible when I went over to his house. And it said, God gives the strongest battles to his strongest warriors. And again, it was just so weird because how can a simple sentence from a book basically cure those feelings I've had all my life of pain and sorrow? It was crazy. It was like, that's when that perception happened, right? Everything happens for a reason. God put me through this because I'm strong enough to help people. And I was so happy and I felt so free that I just said, I will do whatever I can to keep this feeling. And he literally dropped me off at a tattoo shop down the street from his house. I walked about 8 miles home, skipping, laughing, saying hi to everybody on the street. I had no social anxiety. I didn't care. I was just so high on life. And that's why.
That quick, huh, Fausto?
Oh, it was that quick.
Yeah. So the change, the epiphany, and the relief of the disease, was that immediate for you?
Oh yeah, if so, it happened so quick, right, in that moment, and that's what kept me motivated to do whatever I needed to do. So that's why I had this thing I call I don't know if it's probably a mental health name for it. They give everything a name, but I would look at people in TV shows and want to be them, and I would literally do whatever I can to be them. Like that show House, he's addicted to Vicodin, right? He can't walk. When I was in high school, I got myself in a car accident, got a cane, and was prescribed Vicodin, and I was stoked. I was like, I'm House. He did methadone. When I found out about methadone, that's why I tried doing methadone, because of him. So there was another show I watched that the guy went to AA. The show is called Rescue Me with Dennis Leary. And because of that, when I had that epiphany, I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to go to AA because this guy goes to AA, right? That's how I found out about AA. Went to a meeting, shared everything that happened to me, and it was the first time I was able to be honest, share everything, feel connected. And people were like, me too. You know, here's my number, give me a call. So it was weird. It was like everything just was making so much sense. Like I was like in like a movie. It was almost like God was so real in those moments where he was literally with me. Like I can almost see him. And that whole first year was like that. Did I have cravings? Of course they came up. The obsession wasn't lifted right away. You know, cravings still came. Depression was still there. Anxiety was still there. But I was so high on life that I was able to make that next move. Like the craziest things happened in the first year. Even my sponsor said, you were on a pink cloud for 1 year.
Normally lasts a couple of months, man. Normally lasts a couple of months. You know, the beauty of what you just said is that when you're high on life, and that being the undercurrent, like there's no way that anxiety, depression, or like the obsessive nature of, you know, trying to reach for drugs and alcohol, it can't stick, because the undercurrent by which you live your life, just that gratitude, there's no way it allows it to stick. I love that.
Exactly.
So how did you go from, you know, that first year, 12 months, right? Did you already explore the jumping rope? And I'll just share this with, you know, our listeners, is this is an individual who has taken the art of jumping rope, and not by conventional methods where I can do 4 or 5 minutes. He's known to be jumping rope in a gym, in a basketball court for hours. And so walk us through how that unique approach has now really almost started a movement. You get people saying, hey, can you coach me on jumping rope? How did that start? Where are you at with that right now?
Yeah. So when I first got sober, like I said, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to keep this feeling. I've always been into exercising since I was in middle school. So I had a jump rope with me in my bag. So that was my tool, because I had an epiphany that for some reason, this jump rope is playing a part in my story. Why else would a jump rope be in my bag, right? Why else would a jump rope be here when I'm sober? So I felt in my mind and in my heart that I was going to be one of the best jump ropers in the world. I was going to use it to connect with people. I was going to meet the guy who created the rope that I used, Buddy Lee, and I was going to tell him and shake his hand saying, your jump rope was such a huge tool that saved my life. And because of that thought process, that's why I was jumping rope like crazy. Every day, 5 to 6 hours nonstop, from the gym to the parking lot to at work, at nighttime, daytime. It didn't matter where I was, I had it with me. And I had this thought that, I'm going to start tagging people to it. I don't know. You never know who's watching, right? You never know. I'm just going to stay consistent. So I was making videos, and then I started to figure out there's a huge jump rope community out on Instagram. I didn't know that. And people started saying, dude, you're so fast. You're so fast. And so I started to realize, like, I guess I'm fast. And I started to realize that, again, that thought of being one of the best jumpers in the world and meeting started to become more real. I'm telling you, I was like in a fucking movie. Like a fucking movie. It's insane. And on that journey, it was like jumping every day. And then there was a jump rope meetup in Venice Beach when I had about 8 months sober. And it was a guy from the UK called Rush Athletics. And I seen his YouTube stuff. So I was like, here's a perfect way to meet somebody. And I met him. He did a little story on me. And then the #1 jump rope channel is Jump Rope Dudes. They were there. I didn't know that. I talked to them too. I was like, hey, I follow you guys. You have some cool stuff. I told them my story, and they said, hey, can we do a story on you? I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then we had a jump rope contest. I won the jump rope contest, and everyone that was just like people that were just there to support were like, dude, who are you? Like, who is this guy? It was weird, I was like, this is so weird. I'm like the fucking main character in a movie right now.
Yeah.
And then they did a story on me, the Jump Rope Dudes, and that went viral, and it was insane because I got to put like all my, pictures from the past in it. So to see how they edited it, and it was just crazy because dude, all this is happening. And then that first year, that guy that created the jump rope, Buddy Lee, who is the jump rope master, the guy, Olympic athlete, the man, he hit me up. Hey, I've been watching you. I just want to let you know I've been seeing what you're doing, and I was just seeing how consistent you would be with your message and who you are. We'll talk soon. So that was the first year with the jumping rope. So everything that I thought in the beginning was manifesting. And that's why you see what I do with the rope, because it's just like I feel like this is something I need to do. I love it, and it helps me connect with people, and I love the community. And my vision of me doing these TED Talks and speaking at these huge events, using the jump rope in my speech, that is part of my vision, and that's why I'll continue to do what I've done. And I have used the jump rope, speaking with Tim Story and the bass player from Korn and Pastor Phil Aguilar and just tons of heavy people. And that's what I do with it.
We'd love to have you do a live kind of presentation, kind of like a speaker meeting with some of our members. I'd love to, host you and have you share your story, because I think that part of the reason why people gravitate towards people who are recovered or in recovery is because we understand the pain like nobody else.
That's right.
And seeing what's come out on the other side, despite the abyss, people want a part of that. And maybe where they're at is not as dark, but nonetheless, they want to kind of follow somebody that understands how to navigate that maze, because it's literally that, right? The first year of recovery, it's messy, man. Messy. Mm-hmm. You're looking at just putting days together, right? I think it gets better. For me, that first year, man, I slept like a bear in hibernation, because I didn't want to feel, right? I didn't want to feel like now I had to live my feelings. I didn't want to feel that because I was done taking drugs and alcohol. So where are you at right now with the jump rope? How much content are you posting on Instagram? Seems like for me, you're doing it every day. Where do you want to take that, Fausto?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right now with the jump rope, I have I basically had a prototype jump rope to test out so I can put my name on it through Buddy Lee. So we're in the works of getting that done. And
nice.
I hate Instagram. I hate it so bad. I hate posting because my addict brain kicks in and I become obsessed with it. And then it takes me away from the people in front of me. And I don't like that. I catch myself on my phone when I'm driving, at work, at home with my significant other, with my family. And I hate it. But then my mind goes, okay, but if you don't do this, then you're going to miss out on an opportunity. Do you want to be a failure? This is a reality. It's all marketing. Marketing, you got to post at the right times. You got to market it right. You got to have a team. You got to have content constantly. You got to know what your audience wants. All that makes my brain hurt, right? Because it's like, I love helping people. I love jumping for myself. And I love the perception of like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. God will make it happen. I don't want to force it to happen, but I'll be ready. I'll constantly help people, put myself in positions. Like I'll speak at events. I'll do all these things. But when it comes to like the marketing tactic to Instagram, I'm like, I just don't like doing it.
I'm just tired of these vanity metrics, man. Like the likes and the followers, and to your point, like, listen, if I'm brave enough, or just not brave enough, if I'm willing to give my life to God and let Him kind of drive this bus, why am I not willing to do the same thing with these platforms to gain more followership? I get it, but like we're control freaks, like you said. It's mind-boggling, but yeah, it's tiring.
It's very tiring. And my significant other, she's good at marketing, right? So like being with that person constantly makes my head hurt because I hear her do it this way,
Yeah.
do it that way, so easy, and I'm just like, dude, my brain just doesn't work that way. I really
Mhm.
don't like that. I like being in the gutter of stuff. Like, I go to I help the homeless people and the drug addicts. I like being there with them. I'd rather sit with you guys for hours and go on my phone right now. Like, screw it. If I don't post today and it's gonna ruin everything, so be it. Because if God is real, which I do believe in Jesus, that He sees what I'm doing in person. So maybe He
Amen.
has a different plan for me. Maybe my plan is to grow in person, and then it will blow up on the internet. Like David Goggins. I love David Goggins because he's not about social media. He didn't want fame, but somebody found him in that race, mentioned his name, wrote a book about him, and then got him popular. And then, and then he blew up. I like that concept of it because he's staying true to himself. And because of word of mouth, then he blew up.
Is he from your neck of the woods? I mean, listen, I've when I get a notification that he's doing something on Facebook Live, I literally like I'll pull over because it's like if you get 3 minutes of his share, wherever he's at, he could be like running down just a regular commercial highway, and he's just dropping nuggets of like information, motivation, empowering you to become the better you. Just absolutely love that guy. Love him. Where are we at with your reading? I know that you do quite a bit of reading. We both share that mentality of,
Mm.
you know, just that constant and never-ending improvement mentality. And I was sharing with you that I'm reading more today than I ever have, and topics that if you would have shared, told me 2 years ago, hey, you're going to read this, like there's no interest there. Well, now it's funny how like this recovery thing is working. It's pretty sweet. It's good cake.
Mm.
Where are you at with your reading? Because I know you. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but give me that nice phrase that you like to use on social.
Yeah, readers are leaders, right?
Right.
That's the thing. If you want to be a leader, you got to be a reader because you got to constantly be learning stuff, how to sharpen, your skills. So I think reading, because it's funny, because reading for me became my parent. Not having a father or guidance, like these books, these authors became my parent, became the people to guide me. So I became obsessed with it because when I was so broken in the beginning of my sobriety, um, I was reading books and it was just like, dude, I feel it changing me because
Mhm.
I'm so aware of how broken I am, and these things are just speaking to my soul. So I would apply it to my life, and I would see little bits of changes. So I became, addicted to it. I did. I was like, fuck yeah, this is fixing me. So yeah, books, man. I mean, I'm constantly reading books. Like that's the only thing, one of the only things materialistically that I care about. Like when I moved this weekend, all I had was like, oh, I got a bookshelf and books. That's all I care about. That's the only thing. Make sure that's okay. That's coming with me. I'm not donating any of these books because all these books mean something to me. They have notes and stuff I write inside of it, and I love it. Like right now I'm rereading Think and Grow Rich because I'm in a
Mhm.
position where I'm so broke because of my bills for what I'm paying. But it's life. I got the nice car now. I got the nice place. I take care of my family. I eat healthy. I pay my bills on time, right? I got health insurance, car insurance. I'm trying to do everything properly, and I'm not trying to do any quick way to make that easy money in an unhealthy way because it's easy to do that, but I'm like, I'm just not about that. So I'm reading Think and Grow Rich because now my heart is connected to this book because I'm like, cool, now I need to get myself focused on, how to budget better, how to save better, where to invest, get myself motivated to think of outside ideas to add, whether it's asking for a raise, whether it's coming up with a coaching plan, whether it's coming up with a way to develop more patience. Where do I need to humble myself? Who should I ask for help? So that book I'm reading right now, and I'm constantly reading either spiritual, self-development, recovery books, or any books that people I'm influenced by suggest, right?
Awesome.
One big one that's I love a lot is have you ever heard of ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics?
I've heard of the organization. I've never really been a part of it. Listen, but I fit the profile.
So yeah, they have a big book like the AA big book, right? And it's basically the person that we become when we're sober. And so for me, I'm like, dude, I like this because it goes into depth. Like it's very, very deep. You do a
Yeah.
sexual abuse inventory, you do a physical abuse inventory, you do a neglect inventory, you do all these things. But when you're sober now, it's like, oh shit, I didn't realize all these other things. This was the problem. This was the problem, and alcohol and drugs masked it. So that book right now is like, I'm always looking for ways to literally, tweak every part about me, because I know who I am today is not ready for what God has for me. God has bigger plans, and he says, you need to work on yourself right now, because I don't want to give you what I want for you until you're ready, because I don't want you to destroy it. I love you too much for that. So I keep that mentality to humble myself and read these books that where I need to work on myself on. And then the blessings come from it. So that's why I stay addicted to reading, because it is the answer to all my problems.
You know, it's funny, you're seeing a complete shift right now in personal development. You're starting to see people, and I've been kind of reading a lot about this because this fits the platform of what, I'm trying to do, and, the team is trying to do. People now are gravitating for personal development from people that are not the, more famous. And I love, Tony Robbins, but they're looking at people that are more relatable, right? Because of what I shared earlier, like there's a relatability to drug and alcohol recovery. And despite the fact that maybe they're not going through that, they know that you went through that, and how did you navigate that? You're starting to see a lot of that, which I can appreciate, which gives you an opportunity to continue impacting people, because it's not just that one person that you're touching, right? It's the ripple effect of what that person is going to influence and how they're going to influence their people. Exactly. So that to me is really important, really profound. Fausto, huge, I'm sincere thank you. Can't thank you enough. I want to make sure that the listeners have an opportunity to follow you. Where can they find you? YouTube, Instagram, all of those platforms. Can you kind of walk us through, what those platforms, or what your tag or your handles are for those platforms?
Yeah, on Instagram it's Sober Faust, SOBER. Faust is FAUST. On YouTube is Sober Weekly. I have the podcast on there for video visuals and some other videos on there. And Spotify is also Sober Weekly, or podcast for Apple. My website is, www.soberfaust.com. And the future, I'm going to have a lot more. I'm thinking of doing a YouTube channel for Sober Faust. Now in my new place, I'm coming up with ideas to kind of like, you know what, fuck it. If maybe only a few people will like what I'm going to say or connect with, or maybe only get a small amount of views. But I got to remember, I'm not in it for the views. I'm in it for the experience, and to have faith that, like you said, if it just touches one person, then that person can help somebody else with it. Because I got to remember, I do have knowledge and I do have wisdom, because I'm still sober and I've been through these things, and I have the integrity to say I don't cheat, I don't lie, I don't steal, I don't do things the wrong way. And I need to share that stuff for the people who are looking for that help. So that should be coming out soon.
Awesome, man. I wish you nothing but great things, good fortune, a lot of health, a lot of sobriety. I'm indebted to you for your time, but just with the wisdom that you impart I'm a better man for having spent the last 40 minutes with you. So a huge thank you, my man.
Oh man, thank you.
All right, bud. Take care.
You as well.